If I asked your husband why y'all divorced, what would he tell me?
Domestic violence.
Okay. How often did you beat his ass?
No, I'm the victim. And I'm okay with that. I thank God I got out alive.
And how long you been divorced?
For 2 years.
How long were y'all married?
7 months.
So now hold on. I know I got a new calculator, but you got kids that are like in their 20s.
Right.
About 2 different guys, about one?
About one.
Why didn't you marry him?
The last one?
No, the one that impregnated you once or twice.
Oh, he went to jail.
Oh, so you pick ass whoopers and felons. And then you're going to complain about what other... I need you to stop right here, ma'am. I need you to slow the whole French toast down. I'm not going to let you get on here and talk about what black men are not when you pick and dudes that whoop your ass and that are felons. See, I'm not going to sit around and let you black women just sit around and talk about hey, black men ain't here and they ain't this, they ain't that, when in your own life, you pick shit.
Samaritan, may I help you?
Oh, yeah, hi there. I was just calling tonight, because, I mean, I don't think I'm necessarily feeling suicidal or anything like that, but, I mean, I just was calling because I just felt like a little bit disturbed about an issue, and, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that for a few minutes, if that's okay with you.
Sure, of course, we're here for anything.
I just sometimes, find myself on these social media sites where, yeah, and I just, and I just find like this type of content that I consider to be very abusive, and yeah, and I guess it just kind of baffles me that the administrators, there's this one site in particular that I have in mind, YouTube, and they seem a little bit irresponsible, and a little loose and permissive with their guidelines when it comes, to bullyish or abusive content. But anyway, if you like, I could just share an example of what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there was this one influencer. I guess it's important to mention that he is deceased now. And yes. And anyway, I just found like this one short video where it looked like he was, well, I guess I should first mention that he supposedly was just some type of a host of, I'm not really sure how he did it. I didn't really watch his stuff, but he had his own show on YouTube where, a lot of people, mostly women, would call in. And he pretty much would just verbally abuse these women. I don't know why these ladies would call on his show. And set themselves up for that. But but he often would pretty much blame them for their own abuse, especially if these were single mothers who ended up in that position because their partners were abusive. And yes. And so there was just this one clip that I saw where it looked like he was just setting out to victim blame this lady, regardless of what she said. Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to get vulgar, but I'm just telling you, what exactly he said in this video. But he was just saying, like she was, okay, first off, I think the conversation, I don't remember word for word, I'm just telling you the gist of what
it's okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so like the lady called in to his show, and he was asking her, how did you become a single mother? And then she said, oh, well, it was because of domestic violence. And then he said, oh, so he left you because you were beating his ass. Sorry, that's just what he said. And then she said, yeah. And then she said, no, I was the victim. And then and towards the end of the video, I mean, throughout the video, like he was just victim shaming her, telling her about all the ways she was at fault for being in that position, even though he was the abuser, even though it's not her fault, even under any other circumstances. Yeah, like no man has a right to abuse a woman. There's no excuse for it. However, at the end or towards the end of the video, he was just, and I'm sorry, again, like these were just the exact words he was using. He was saying, oh, well, how could you not blame yourself, or how can you complain, when you're the one who's over there picking felons and picking ass whoopers? I'm sorry, that's what he said. But, and yeah, I guess I just called because I was a little triggered by that. Like, how can YouTube allow, even a supposedly popular influencer to just, victim shame, victims or survivors of domestic abuse. That's, this is blatant bullying. So, yeah, that's wrong. It's never the victim's fault. So, yeah, I guess I just called because, yeah, I guess you understand why I was a little triggered by that. I was actually a survivor of domestic abuse myself, and I actually became a single mom on account of sexual assault, really. And, I've tried to avoid these types of videos, but it does make me feel re-abused whenever I see things like that. So, yeah, just, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it bothers you a lot that YouTube and the people that manage YouTube allow this to happen.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I'm not even sure how they would be allowed to get away with that. I mean, I would think that it's this very thing that kind of encourages abusers and, yeah, because, if I see any content that looks for ways like to blame and shame the victim, then I would think that it makes it easier for abusers to avoid being accountable because they often blame their own victims too for their behavior. And, yeah, I'm sure you know all these things. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what type of site would, just allow that type of evil, I guess. So, yeah. I mean, I was just, I guess, a little bit unnerved by that. Like,
No, of course.
Yeah.
With everything that you've been through, it's normal for you to feel this way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess you wouldn't really be able to tell me much about the possibilities as to how a site could kind of get away with tolerating, that type of abusive content. Yeah, I mean, even though I understand that people have a right, to freedom of speech, I would think that there's a line even to that type of freedom, because this is just, yeah, because all this is just a bunch of sadistic hatefulness, really. I mean, it's uncalled for to re-abuse and blame the victim like that. That just, that's just toxic, and it's only other abusers who say these types of things and who behave this way. So, yeah.
What would you like YouTube to do? What do you think you can do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have already complained about this, and but nothing. It just looks like YouTube doesn't care. I don't know if they're, I don't know if they're getting some type of benefit out of it, or money, or views, revenue, whatever. But yeah, it's just, and but I wonder how they would get away with that, though. I mean, to just encourage abuse on women like that, like that's really strange. I don't know what.
It's the first time I'm hearing of something like this on YouTube.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's shocking, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess you do agree, though, that it's always wrong and inappropriate to blame the victim. Like that's, yeah, I mean, because, I mean, it's 100% the abuser's fault. Like, I mean, nothing gives him or her a right to behave that way, even if this is, someone that you're dating or whatever, or even if it's someone you had a child with. I mean, at the end of the day, like, they need to be held 100% responsible for their abusive actions. It's,
of course,
yeah. So, I mean, I know that there's a lot of ignorance out there, but I mean, unfortunately, I myself am guilty of having blamed the victim before, but I mean, I know better now. That was just because I was not educated at the time. And, I was blaming myself too, because I was going through that, and I had believed that it was at least partly my fault. But I know better now, because I've, researched about it, and about domestic abuse type relationships. Yeah. And there's a lot of ignorant people out there, though, and, just really mean-spirited people who don't get it, who want to promote that type of, wicked and abusive idea, though, and who don't want to learn about why they're wrong for doing that, And that's, yeah, and I think that's the part I think is really disturbing. And, yeah.
I think it's completely understandable that something like this bothers you, and especially because it's your own experience, that it must be a little bit re-traumatizing, hurts the wound that you experienced yourself. And I don't know, I don't have any solutions, but it's normal to feel upset by the existence of something that promotes behavior that could hurt other people.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you could, because, of course, it's a man's right not to, date or marry a single mother if that's his choice. I absolutely would never, try to impose that on someone. I know that we all have our preferences. I get it. I have my own. And it's just the victim blaming reasonings behind that. That's the part that I'm not okay with. That's what these people are doing. Yeah, I mean, that's what this particular influencer was doing. Like, he was kind of encouraging men to avoid women in those situations, by kind of, just putting that idea out there, like, well, these women were stupid for dating these abusive men, therefore she should be avoided, or, because you don't want someone like that in her life. He never says anything like, these men should not be abusing these women or sexually assaulting these women, or they should start, being more responsible about who they have, intimacy with, because they very well could be choosing the mother of their baby. And even if they don't want anything to do with the mother after that, they need to be responsible and take care of their children. And, instead of creating all these children that they refuse to support. I don't see anyone saying anything like that, and that's, I try not to be on YouTube too much, because it just seems like such a toxic and abusive site, and and like you said, it seems to encourage men. Ultimately, it encourages men to keep abusing women. That just seems to be what they're promoting. It can be dangerous for that reason, like, to vulnerable people. Yeah. Yeah, so, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad that, you seem to agree, though, that it's wrong, though, to blame the victim, or blame, women who ended up in that situation, because of having abusive partners. Like, I don't know why, there are some men on these sites that try to promote that, but that I just wanted to share. So, but I was just wondering, well, I don't know. I know that you said that this is the first time you've heard about this, but do you have any ideas behind how a site can kind of get away with just kind of allowing all that type of bullying? I mean, like, isn't it, I don't know, even possible to, like, just sue the site for doing something like that, or allowing that, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the laws are on this, but yeah.
You mentioned something about people calling in, and then it sort of reminded me a little bit of this idea of consensual non-consent. And unfortunately, I don't know if these people, it's difficult because perhaps YouTube thinks that people want this kind of content, and that's what they call. But it doesn't seem to be very healthy. I'm not sure what the legal responsibilities are for YouTube, but I'm sure if it really is something that promotes hate or abuse or shaming, it should not be allowed. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because honestly, it was just as shocking to me as it probably was for you. Like, I would see this type of content there, and even though I've complained multiple times, it's still being allowed. And yet, I see content that is, I mean, I've seen stuff on YouTube that actually is much less abusive than this that gets removed, and that's weird to me. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of corruption happening, behind this site. I don't know if abusers are working for YouTube as well, but yeah. So yeah. I was just wondering, like, before we end the call, like, I don't know. I mean, I imagine that there are. I mean, I've been looking for other organizations that I can complain to outside of YouTube. I'm in the process of doing that, just to let you know. Yeah. But I was just wondering if you. Well, I guess you won't be able to tell me much, but I was also wondering what else I can kind of do to just call YouTube out for, like you said, for encouraging that type of abuse and or violence and whatnot, against victims or women who are survivors of domestic abuse. Because I mean, I feel like that's a legitimate concern to have. It should not, definitely should not be, allowed. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I take a minute or two to check what resources we might have that could help you?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Take your time.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Hi. I think I have a few resources. One for domestic abuse, another for victims of violence. Usually we only refer people to these if the caller is undergoing these, but perhaps you can reach out to the organization.
Okay. And as far as you know, are these organizations that can kind of help to, I don't know, stop this type of abusive content on social media? Or what do they do exactly? I'm just curious.
Usually it's we as the volunteers on the hotline are sort of mandated reporters. So if we know that someone is being abused, we can make a referral to the organization and they can investigate.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not 100% sure if they can directly support you on this, but I'd be happy to give you their names.
Yeah, sure.
And the phone number.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's at least worth it just to call in and ask. I don't know, because that's what I was really looking for, just another site I can complain to about, an abusive, social media platform or someone being abusive on the internet. That was kind of, what I was looking for. Yeah, it's worth it, though. You could give me what you have for now. Sure.
Okay. One of them is let me see. Sorry, 1 second. Yes,
sure.
It's the National Domestic Violence Helpline. So it's called www.thehotline.org. There's another one called janedoe.org. That one is more specific to Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
And and there's one for abuse called RAINN, rain.org.
Yeah, okay. I think I know about some of these. Yeah, I may have spoken with them before, but yeah, but I guess I could, yeah, if they know of any referrals to other resources, then yeah, I could definitely ask them. Okay, so is that pretty much all you have for now, or are there others? Or
there are others, but I feel like the main one would probably be the National Domestic Violence Hotline.
Yeah, okay, all right. I might ask them. I'm sure they would have something. I think that there was something called, I forgot what it was, like National Coalition for Violence Against Women. I forgot. I might have to ask them. But I don't know if they would be able to. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's the right name exactly, but something like that. But I think that they might be able to help with this, with combating, with abusive content on social media, promoting violence against women. That's kind of what I was looking for. Okay, so I'll try those, what you just gave me.
Sorry, I did find one more, and it is the Stomp Out Bullying Agency.
What was the name of it? Stomp
Out Bullying Agency. They're mostly focused on reducing and preventing bullying, cyberbullying, other digital abuse, perhaps educating against online abuse.
Okay, Stomp Out.
I can give you the phone number if you need.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can give me the number.
877 602 8559.
Okay. Yeah, so this sounds really good for now. I mean, I'm familiar with some of the other things that you told me about, the other hotlines. But this, I don't think I heard of this one. I'll try them too. Yeah, okay. All right, so, yeah, thank you so much. And, yeah, it's good to know that there are still others like you who are sane and, who would never condone, this type of abuse on the internet, and yeah, so I do appreciate that. I try to hang on to the fact that there are still others in this world who are like you. So yeah, I do thank you for that. It kind of helps.
You're welcome.